Europe, it's Eurovision Ireland. We're back with another review of the songs from the 2022 Eurovision Song Contest. We're going to pick them apart, 6 of them, and see how we like them, whether we don't like them. Could we see a winner coming from among this 6? As ever, you can find us on the website, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, and there's maybe other things that we don't know about. Telegram, maybe, who knows? Anyway, quick introduction to the team. We've got Bogdan.
Hello, everyone.
We've got James.
Hi, everyone.
We've got Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
And that's Rich.
Hi.
And we've got Staggy as well. Now, the 6 we're going to review in this show are in alphabetical order, so there's no favoritism: Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, and Switzerland. So we've got 2 automatic finalists in among these. So we're going to kick off with Germany, and that's being led by Bogdan.
Thank you, John. So this year, Germany and Malik Harris with Rockstars. And this song, it's a mixture of a pop ballad with some rap. The vocals are okay. It feels like a very tamed performance until Malik reaches the rap part, which I think is the best part of the whole song. It's when he comes alive. I absolutely love the message of the song, even though it's a little bit more melancholic. It's about trying to remember that there's still good out there. And if we remember to be good, we can do it again. Like all over again. In the past, we were good, like Rockstars, like we had no troubles, and we can maybe remember to do that again. So I like the positive message of the song, and I don't know how public will react to it, but if it incorporates again the whole message about supporting Ukraine, I think the public will back it up even more.
Thanks, Bogdan. I should point out that Malik Harris, who's singing Rockstars, he's co-written it with Marie Kubilka and Robin. I can't remember my writing here. And Robin. So we're going to go around the room now. James, what do you think of the German song?
The German song this year is an interesting one because on the first listen, I sort of listened to it, I was like, oh, okay, you know, it sort of thing grabbed me. But I've noticed it's the kind of thing that I'm sort of humming, you know, throughout the day and things. I'm like, okay, it's definitely got in there. There is a bit of a nostalgia feel to it, and there are a couple of songs this year that feel, I think, Finland, Bulgaria, to an extent, Germany, they sort of tap into this sort of late 90s, early 2000s music style that I think is going to, you know, a lot of people are going to respond to. I think winning Eurovision 2022 might be a bit ambitious. This should be enough to get Germany more televote points than they got last year. Not sure how many more, though. But I quite enjoy it as a song.
James. Sarah, what do you think of the German song this year?
Well, I certainly think that Germany went for the best song out of the national selection. It's got a catchy feel to it, the ways you do, we're going to be a rock star. So that sort of kind of catches you. And I agree with Bogdan. I like the message of the song. How will it do? I certainly think it's going to do better than last year. I don't think it will be in the nil point category at all. It's probably going to be sort of just about from mid down to right hand side of the table. I think. I don't think it's going to create sort of very much. I don't think it's going to create very much sort of in the way of sort of getting to the left hand side of the table. But I think certainly it's going to do better than last year.
Sarah. Richard, tell us what you think of Malik Harris.
Yeah. Malik Harris, certainly he's got strong vocals, but in terms of performance, I don't think he quite has that connection with the camera or the audience yet, but that's just going on the national final performance. What I didn't quite like about the national final performance, I do want them to sort of reconsider. He was using a lot of instruments. It felt quite busy at times, so they just need to sort of focus on him or focus with him and one instrument, otherwise it could look quite messy. I don't think it will trouble the top 10, but it should get some point scores something.
Thanks. Yeah. From what I saw, he's sort of trying to be a bit Ed Sheeran with the multi-instrumentalism going on, and sort of the delivery of the song. It's something that you could imagine Ed Sheeran doing on maybe an album track, I think. It's not bad. I'm not sure whether it actually gets going. I mean, there is the rap in there, but there's the risk of the rap turning into more of a rant if he's not careful. But at least we've seen a live performance, which, for some of the others that we're going to review, we've yet to see a decent live performance of some of these. It's okay. I've heard better, I've heard worse. I don't think Germany are going to win, but it's good to see them trying anyway. So moving on, our second song in this broadcast is from France, another automatic qualifier for the final. Now this, as you've been living under a rock, will know that there's been sung in Breton. It's called Fulenn, and it's written and been performed by Alvan and Ahez. Alvan is Alexis Morbena Radius, I believe, and it's been covered with Marine Levine, who is one of Ahez are a trio. Now James is going to lead off on this one.
Oh, I mean, I really fought to talk about this song because there is just so much to go on in here. This is incredible. It's moments like this that I love Eurovision for. The moment it started as a hey, and you're captivated immediately. And there's a real intensity to the way he performs, sort of staring straight down the camera, so immediately you're captivated. If you remember Tenfjord from the Spanish national selection, they were sort of favourite very early on when the songs were coming out. This feels like a very similar feel. We've got a minority language, it's sort of quite tribal, bit of an ethnic flair in it. And I think the result is just absolutely amazing. I mean, we've got fire, we've got runes on the ground. As I said, he performs amazingly, the vocals are all there. And it's just got such a great beat to it. I really, really enjoy it. I was captivated. The first time I listened to it, I loved it. I put it straight back on again because I loved it that much. That being said, as much as I do love it, I think it might be a bit too divisive to win Eurovision. But I think it's the kind of thing the juries are going to respond to because it's a solid performance. And I think the televote are going to respond to it as well, because if it's anything like we saw in the French national selection, it's going to be, it's going to be bright, it's going to be fire, it's going to grab your attention. I can see France getting back into the top 10 with this song very, very easily. And I mean, you can tell I absolutely love it. I want to be raving to this song at Stonehenge during the equinox, wearing a pair of antlers. That probably says more about me than I should have mentioned. But yeah, I just think it's brilliant. And yeah, absolutely love it. France, mwah, magnifique. And if I know how to say that in Breton, I'd add that as well. But sorry.
Thanks, James. Sarah, tell us what you think about the French song this year.
Oh, wow, I absolutely love it. I'm very much in agreement with James. From the moment I saw it in the French national final, it hooked me straight away. We had sort of the cry at the beginning, and then it's very, very dark, it's moody, you've got the fires going. Yeah, I like the fact that it's in Breton. I think it's a long, long time since France have actually sung in Breton, actually. And it's just, the atmosphere is just terrific. They do not need to do anything more to the staging with this, as far as I'm concerned. I think they can take that performance to Turin. They can do that on the big stage, no problem. This is going to get votes from both the jury and the televote, no doubt about that. Chances of winning, I agree with James on that. It might be a little bit too sort of divisive for some people, but wow, it's just one of those songs that instantaneously catches you, and that's what you need at Eurovision. You need something that's going to be catchy, memorable. It's got the lot. Yeah, bonne chance, France.
Sarah, Richard, over to you.
Great vocals, great connectivity. When you watch the performance, it's something mythical and ethnicity, you know what I mean, about it. And it sort of reminded me of Shum from last year. And in that respect, I think it will sort of finish in sort of the same similar position as Ukraine did last year, because it's sort of the same sort of performance. But to round my comments off, I love the fact that the dialect of Breton is being used instead of the standard French language.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, I reviewed the French national final, and you'll find it on our website somewhere. Love this song from the first moment I heard it. It's sort of, it grabs you by the throat and says, "Vote for me," and you would quite happily vote for it. It's got something for everyone. It's moody. The staging is already there, as has already been said. They don't need to do anything at all with it. It's there. It's got everything. I think the crowd are going to go wild. And yeah, it is perchance a little bit like Shum, but a lot of your casual viewers out there might not remember Shum, so they might just see it as something brand new. Definite thumbs up from me. And the Mouse reviewed the lyric, and he loves the lyric too, so there's nothing wrong with this at all. Well done. Give us your take on France, please.
Well, I must echo what everyone else already said. It's such a high energetic song. It captivates you from the moment it starts, and it keeps you captivated throughout all the song. Yeah, it's a great one, and I love it, and I'm really sure it will get a lot of support around Europe, from all over Europe and Australia. Why not? And we'll have to see. I don't think it's gonna get enough to win, but easily top 5.
Well done. So that's our review of France. Okay, our next song on this review is the one from Switzerland. Now, we were going to have a guest reviewer, but they unfortunately had to cancel at very short notice. So I'm going to take this one. Now, it's called Boys Do Cry, and it's performed by Marius Bear. Now, he's written it under his real name. He's from the German-speaking part of Switzerland, and he's written it with a guy called Martin Gallup, and it's going to be performed in the first semi-final. Now, it's right from the start. I think this is going to appeal more to juries and televote. He's got a cracking voice. It sort of reminded me a bit in parts of George Ezra, that sort of deep, sort of soulful, actually almost a velvety sort of voice going on there. So there's nothing wrong with his voice. He's a good performer, and he will sell this so well. I just fear for it a little bit. In this age where songs are good, yeah, they have to grab you straight off. A builder might not necessarily cut it. I do sort of fear for it. If you go through the whole 3 minutes, maybe listen to it a couple of times, you'll get the message, and you'll appreciate what a deep song it is. But does that make it really a contest song? I'm a bit doubtful. It's definitely a good song in its own right, but I'd like to see it do well. And it only has to beat 7 other songs to make the final, which it could do. But it could be one of these that finishes somewhere between 7th and 14th, I think. Okay, over to Sarah. What do you think of the Swiss song this year?
I have to say I'm struggling a bit with this one, because I find it's very slow to actually build up into anything. And I think probably, I don't know whether it's the fact that I'm a little bit disappointed, because after the last 2 years we had Gijon's Tears with 2 excellent songs, and I must admit I was expecting very high things from Switzerland again this year. I can't take away the fact that Marius is a very, very good singer. Vocally, he's absolutely sound. The song itself is pleasant enough, but I just can't remember it, and that's the problem. It's going to take me at least 2 or 3 listens to be actually sort of be able to sort of maybe decide, is it one for me, isn't it? I think a lot is going to depend on the staging with this one, because we haven't actually yet seen it, seen him live. So I do think the staging is going to count for a lot, along with his very, very good vocals. It's one of those that I kind of think it's borderline qualifier at the moment. It's either going to make it or it's not. And I think a lot depends on how the televoters feel on the evening of the final. It's certainly going to get some jury votes. I just wonder how the televoters are going to take to it. Yeah, which is a shame, really, because I mean, I really did have high hopes for Switzerland, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, Sarah. Richard, give us your take on the Swiss song.
Marius's vocals are okay. And you can certainly tell he's a storyteller through the song, which the juries will love. But for me, it just didn't get going. And that's what the danger is when it comes to being in a semi-final. Yes, the juries will probably appreciate it, but for those that were watching it on the one night and one run through, which is the televoter, I just fear it's in danger, sadly, after a couple of good years that they've had.
Richard, Bogdan, over to you.
Thank you. Well, I must echo what everyone said. I can't fault Marius' vocals. The vocals are there. It's unfortunate the song isn't. I appreciate it, but for Eurovision, you need to grab your attention in one way or another. But it just feels like a really long 3 minutes. And after the song finishes, I can't remember it. So that's the downside of this song. I wish we would have something more memorable. It's not Marius' fault. He is brilliant. He has I can always say that he will have a great connectivity with the camera, great focus, but the song, I'm afraid it's not there.
Bogdan. Okay, James, your last give us your opinion on the Swiss song this year.
I can only really agree with what's already been said. To echo what Sarah said, after 2019, we saw Switzerland qualify for the first time in years, rocket up to 4th place. I thought, okay, they're falling in love with Eurovision again, and we saw that with Jean's Tears, doing really well. I feel like this song has been crafted to appeal to the same jury that voted for Jean's Tears. Now, that's a method to try and do well in Eurovision, but I think there's a lot of jury appeal there because he's got a fantastic voice. I just worry that in semi-final 1 there are a lot of much flashier numbers that are going to appeal to a televote, and I do wonder, he's performing quite early in the running order, we know now, so I do fear for it. I'll be curious to see. I can see it coming in the top 5 for the jury very, very easily. Televote, I could see it accidentally coming in the bottom 5, so it'll be interesting to see whether that evens out.
Okay, thanks, James. Right, moving on. Our 4th song is from Switzerland's neighbours, Austria. And that's called Halo, and it's performed by Lumix and Pierre Maria. And Lumix, under his real name, is Luca Michel Muger. Sorry if I got that wrong. And a cast of 5 other people, I'm not going to reel off all their names, have written this song, and it's also been performed in the first semi-final. And Sarah's going to lead off on this one.
Right, well, Halo. So Lumix, the interesting thing about him is he's a DJ, and he's actually one of Austria's most successful singers, and he's been joined on stage by Pierre Maria. With Lumix, his real name being Luca, he's actually got an Italian mother, and he actually lived in Turin, so that might get a few votes their way. Going on to Halo itself, it's a banger of a song, no doubt about that. It's catchy, it's modern, it's one that you can easily sort of get up and dance to, and that's going to appeal to all television audiences on the night. I think it's one that's really going to be directed more towards the youth vote. I think the younger voters are going to go for this in droves, on televoting with the televotes. Jury appeal. I think, again, a lot is going to come down on the staging, because at the moment we've only seen the video player where they're in this nice stately home, very glamorous, a little bit sort of like Belgium last year when they were in this sort of very, very sort of white, this sort of quite sophisticated location. I just wonder whether they can replicate the performance that they did in the video on the stage. That's going to be the interesting bit, how they actually stage it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It'll qualify, I think, no problems. What it will do in the final, I think it's probably going to be sort of easy within the top 10. I absolutely love it.
Sarah, what do you think, Richard?
There's very modern sounding vocals, which isn't a bad thing, and it's definitely one of the most upbeat performances that we're certainly seeing in this video, but one of the very few upbeat performances we've got in the contest. That isn't a bad thing, and that should help it stand out. and like Sarah said, it should attract a youthful vote. And like here in the UK, with semi-finals are on BBC Three, they obviously aim for a youth audience. So if other countries are showing their semi-finals on similar channels, it probably do well for Austria, and I can see Austria being in the final. How well it does in the final is another matter, because I think it's more of a televote song than a jury song, but it should do well.
That's Richard. Yeah, I like, personally, I like it. It's nicely upbeat, especially in a semi-final where there's not that much upbeatness going on, so it will stand out. It's not bad at all. I'd like to see it live because I've seen songs like this before, and the live performance just gets it wrong. The one I'm thinking of is Lose Control by World People. Loved it when I first saw the video. I thought, yeah, surefire hit, going to be. It's straight through to the final, and then to be honest, it just died a death because they tried to do too much to the staging and it just didn't work. And that's my only reservation on this one. Staging's right. It's going to absolutely hoover up televotes. Probably the televotes that Switzerland would have got if they put something upbeat in. Jury votes, if they're after a hit, it might, get a scattering of jury votes, but it's televote fodder, and I'd love to see it in the final. Bogdan, over to you.
I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite songs from the upbeat dance ones, and it should have no problem qualifying. I must agree with you, John. I'm really looking forward to hearing it live, because at the moment, what we saw on the video is very heavily produced. All the vocals, like everything is not clean. You can't imagine how it would sound live. So I'm really anxious, but I'm really hoping that live would sound really good. It definitely grab the televotes, and that part where you have to clap along, that I imagine all the arena will clap along to those parts, and it will look amazing on a TV show. As an interesting fact, the first time I heard a song, I thought, this sounds really familiar, and from my point of view, it really reminds me of what Rayleigh sent last year with Hero. If you watch Norway from Melody Grand Prix from last year with Hero, you can kind of see something from there. I'm not saying it's plagiarism, I'm not saying it's copy. It's just the first time I listened to this song, it's actually almost like Hero from last year, but a very good song, and it should qualify and do well.
Thanks, Bogdan. Okay, James, your last comments on the Austrian song this year.
I love this. Excuse me. I really love this. It's one of the few songs this year that I've sort of actually gone back to and listened to again just off my own back. I think it's brilliant. I love the music video. It's sort of a mixture of Imperial Austria and clubbing in Shoreditch, which I think is fantastic. I am curious to see what it'll do on stage. I think if they sort of bring in elements from the video, that could work really nicely. The one tiny nagging doubt I have is that everyone really reacted the same way to Denmark last year. We said, it's got this 80s vibe to it, and everyone loved it. And then Denmark's name didn't come out of those envelopes. I think, though, the one thing that this song has that Denmark didn't is the fact that it's in English. That commerciality is there that much more for the juries. So I can see this getting to the final very, very easily. I could see it doing the top 10, and I think it's a real bop. And it's one of those songs you hear and think, oh, wow, Austria. That's a good one.
Thanks, James. Okay, so that's our review of Austria. Right, our fifth song is the one from Greece. That's called Die Together. It's performed by Anna Tenfjord, which she's co-written with Bjorn Helge Gammelseiter, I think. I'm sure there'll be people out there to tell me I've pronounced it totally wrong, but please do. It's in the first semi-final, and Richard's going to tell us about this one first.
Yeah, so we've died together. to be honest, I'm not a fan of Anna's vocals for the majority of the song, only because it's, for me, it's quite monotone and more spoken and sung, even though it is sung throughout. However, the song is full of storytelling, and in the official video, you can see that aspect come from her. And it is full of emotive lyrics as well, and you can see that visually. I just hope it can be replicated. Grab my attention as much, unlike other entries. And I do see it as quite a safe entry, and I do see Greece as being in a bit of danger. However, it is one of those ones that come down to how it is staged. And to be honest, watching the official video, for more honest, I was more interested in the background and where it's being filmed than I was the song.
Okay, thanks, Richard. I listened to this one, and it starts slowly, and I'm waiting for it to kick up a beat, and it doesn't. And I'm thinking, when's this going to get going? I wanted it to. I wanted to like it, but I'm afraid I listened to it once, and I listened to it again, and I can't actually remember how it goes. It's not got that instant appeal. So whether a televoter will be happy to pick up the phone and vote for it, I don't know. The jury might, but I think, as Richard says, this is in dangerous territory this year. Bogdan, what do you think?
Well, I completely disagree with your opinion. For me, it's absolutely brilliant and beautifully layered. It starts really slow, it continues slow, but it builds up, and from multiple layers to a single one, and then it's in your face, and I can see it on the stage, just alone on the stage, and it will sound amazing. For me, it's a combination of Billie Eilish, Lord, maybe something from Sigrid. It will, I have a feeling it will sound really good on the night. And opposite to your opinion so far, for me, it captivated from the first hearing, and I was absolutely mesmerized by it. And for me, this is a dark horse of the contest, and I absolutely love it.
Thanks, Bogdan. Difference of opinion, brilliant. What have you got to say about the Greek song, James?
I'm kind of in between both of you at the moment, because the first time I heard it, I was like, this is quite slow. There is a beauty there, but I sort of feel like musically it didn't pick up enough for me, and I'm a big fan of dramatic ballads, so I like something that starts that slow and then gets into, Care to Take Conmigo territory, really emotional and out there. This is a much more restrained emotion. The thing is, though, I do take Bogdan's point that I think if they stage this well and it's just her and the camera focuses on her, then I think it's the kind of song that people are going to gravitate towards. So I think it will come down to staging. Qualifying, I can see it qualifying. When it gets to the final, I'm really torn, because part of me can see it finishing in the top 5, another part of me sort of sees more mid-table finish. I think it's going to come down to so many of the specifics. But I think she's got quite a haunting voice and quite a strong stage presence. So if they play on those things, then I think this could work in Greece's favour. I appreciate that sort of a halfway answer between both of you so far.
It would be a dull old world if we all agreed on the same stuff, wouldn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Sarah, what do you think of Greece?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm more sort of leaning towards the negative side, unfortunately, which is a shame, because generally, I mean, sort of Greece do what Greece do well. Ballads is certainly one of their stronger points. However, having said that, I can't take to this song so much. I'm struggling to actually sort of get into the feel of it, because I feel I'm waiting sort of for that big dramatic thing to happen in it, and then it doesn't happen, and that's the disappointment. It's what I'd like to like it, and I think probably I'm going to need another couple more listens before I get into it properly. But the problem with that being, obviously, if I was a televoter sitting there on the night and I'm struggling to sort of get into the song now, then what is a televoter on the night going to think? The same thing, and I think that's the problem that this song has got. I'd like to see it do well, and I think if she gets the staging right, I think it's certainly in with a chance to qualify. And what it'll do in the final, I think it may get swallowed up amongst some stronger entries. But hey, what do I know? It might do well. It'd be interesting to see.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, 5 down, 1 to go, and our final review is for Belgium. Just wait for the flag to appear there. Now, this song is called Miss You, and it's been performed by Jérémie and Makiese. I think that's how it's pronounced. And he's co-written it with a couple of his pals. He's performing in the second semi-final, which arguably is the tougher semi-final this year. We'll have to see. Now, I'm leading on this one. And I don't dislike it. It's not bad. It's unlike a lot of the other stuff we reviewed. It might appeal more to a stateside audience. I don't know, but a European audience could still go for it because it's got that R&B vibe, and it reminds me of something. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but I've got it written down here, Bruno Mars. So it could be something that he could sing and get away with. Not that Jérémie can't get away with it. I think it's fine. It's fine in his hands. I obviously need to see a live performance because we've only got the official music video to go on at the moment, and that's nicely slick and polished and produced like a few of the others that we reviewed here. It's not outside the reckoning. I have to say, I don't think it will win if it makes the final. But I think it could just about scrape into the final. Right, Bogdan, over to you.
Well, I definitely love his voice, and I think we're gonna see definitely a smooth performance because very slick, very choreographed. Like he's brilliant both at singing and dancing as well, which is a great plus. For me, the song sounds like an R&B songs from the late 90s, early 2000s. Something like Cisco, if some viewers remember that kind of that artist. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not sure how it will go. For me, it's like in the middle of the road. We'll get some votes from the jury, we'll get some votes from the public, but will that be enough? I have to wait.
Bogdan, James, over to you.
I'm really enjoying the Belgian entry this year. I like the way it starts. There's that sort of quite classical riff at the beginning. I think Jérémie has an amazing voice. If you can pull that off live, then I think that'd be very, very impressive. Yeah, to agree with what Bogdan said, I'm expecting something quite choreographed on stage, something very slick, very modern. For me, I see it qualifying at the moment. Once it gets to the final and in a bigger pool of songs, I don't think it's going to bring Belgium their second win. But I think depending how the staging goes and sort of how people respond to it, I could see Belgium getting into the top 10, lower top 10 admittedly, but still I'm enjoying it.
James, Sarah, what do you think?
I like Belgium this year. He's got a lovely voice. I am really curious to see how he's going to stage this, and I can see Belgium bringing quite a polished staging with this. I mean, I know that a lot's been said on social media about comparisons between sort of Jérémie and Cesar Sampson, Austria 2018. I can see it possibly getting a Cesar Sampson kind of response, especially with the juries. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was quite close up to the top 5 in the actual jury voting. With the public votes, it could go either way. I think staging is going to be a big key factor in this, but he's got the vocals to sell the song. Yeah, and I think, there will be people there who really, really like this kind of song, and I think it's got potential to do well.
Sarah, and last but certainly not least, Richard, give us your take on the song from Belgium this year.
I think Jérémie has got beautiful vocals. You can't fault that. The song is full of storytelling again, and he brings the emotion to it. For me, I feel like it's a slowed down version of something I've heard before, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. However, I do think it'll make the final. And if the staging's kept simple and if it's got a good position in the running order, because we don't know who's going to make the final and who they're going to be in amongst in that sort of section of the show, I could see it being top 10.
Thanks, Richard. So that's the 6 songs we're reviewing in this show. Now, all the six songs, we're going to score them. Now, because there's only 5 of us reviewing, every score is going to count. We're each going to give them a score out of 10. Every score will count, so they'll all get a score out of a possible 50. So we'll start with Germany. Bogdan, what's your score for Germany?
6 points from me.
6. James?
It's a 6 from me as well for Germany.
6. And Sarah?
I'm going to give it 6 as well.
6, yeah. And Richard?
6 for me as well.
And a 6. And guess what? It's worth a 6 from me as well. So that scores a nice steady 30 points there. Okay, next is France. James, give us your score for France.
Can I give it 38? I'll give it 10.
Is that a 10?
It's a very definite 10.
It's a 10. And Sarah?
10 from me.
10. And Richard?
10.
He's getting a 10 from me as well. I can't fault it. And Bogdan?
I'm going to be the black sheep. I'm going to give it only a 9.
A 9. So that scores 49 out of a possible 50. There's room for improvement. Okay. Next is Switzerland. So I'm going to kick off with this one. Mainly for its voice, I'm going to give it a 7. Sarah?
I'm going to give it 6.
6. And Richard?
5.
5. And Bogdan?
Sorry, it's a 5 from me as well.
5. And James?
I'm going to give it a 5 as well.
So that scores 28. Still more than 50%. Next, we have Austria. Sarah, what's your score for Austria?
9.
9. Richard?
7.
7. It's an 8 from me. And Bogdan?
8 from me too.
And James?
I'm going to give it a 9.
9. So that scores 41. As ever, dear viewer, you can see the scores above and below us in the black bars. So you'll see who's leading. 5th song is from Greece. Richard?
It's only a 5 from me.
5. It's only a 5 from me as well, I'm afraid. Bogdan?
10.
10.
For me, it's my favorite.
Fair enough. James?
I'm going to give it a 7.
7. Okay. And Sarah?
Sorry, it's a 4 from me.
4. So that scores
This is the first time
31.
we disagree.
Yeah, our biggest disagreements, I think. Scores 31 out of 50. And finally, we have Belgium. So I'm going to start with a 7 for that one. Bogdan, what's your score?
I think it's a 7.
7. And James?
It's an 8 from me.
And Sarah?
7.
7. And Richard?
I love it. It's a 10.
10. Right, so that scores 39. So our 6 from 6th to 1st in this show. We have in 6th place with Switzerland on 28. 5th place on 30 is Germany. 4th place we have Greece on 31. In 3rd place we have Belgium on 39. In second place on 41, we have Austria. And our clear winner of these 6 on 49 is France or Brittany. You decide. Now, as you'll know by now, we're going to put all these scores together with the other scores from all the other reviews. So we should come up with a Eurovision Ireland favourite. And it looks like France is going to be up there among them. Now, as I said at the top of the show, you can find us on the website, eurovisionisland.net. You can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Twitter. Tell us what you think of our review. Did we miss something? Have we hit the mark? Is there one of these songs that is your favourite, maybe your all-time favourite? Of course, we do have to go around the room as well and ask, could a winner from this 6? So I'm going to start with Bogdan. Could a winner come from the 6 songs we reviewed?
Well, you already know my answer. I would say Greece and France could potentially win.
Okay, James, what do you think?
I can see a couple of high flyers in here. I can see Austria possibly winning a semi-final. I'm not sure we've seen the winner of the entire contest in these songs, though. But some fantastic entries nonetheless.
Sarah, have we seen a winner?
I think possibly France. I think it stands out as the only winner from this group, although it's a very good group of songs this week. But I think France is definitely the standout.
Okay, Richard, what do you think?
I think if France don't win it, they'll be top 3. But amongst the others, Belgium for a possible top 10. But the rest, no.
I have to agree. France, for me, is the best of these 6 in the show. Belgium could spring a surprise. Even Austria, if they nail it, they could spring a surprise as well. But that's not to discount any of the other 3 songs that I've not mentioned. So that's it, Europe. We're going to say goodbyes. And don't forget to stay tuned for more of these reviews. So it's goodbye from Bogdan.
Bye, everyone.
James.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Sarah.
Bye, everyone.
From Richard.
Bye.
And from me and Staggy, goodbye.